All rise.
Please be seated. Presenting case number 4549, the murder of the patient Layla Sameh at Zurich National Hospital. Prosecutor, please step forward. Present yourself and make your opening statement.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Mariam Ayman, and I will be representing the family of the deceased Layla, which was killed due to the reckless acts of Dr. Mohammed. Layla was admitted to the hospital on the 29th of December and was diagnosed with brain cancer level 1. Unfortunately, after 2 weeks, Layla was found dead after requesting euthanasia to end her life due to her sudden suffering and showing withdrawal. The parents, from their shock, asked to perform autopsy on her dead body. This autopsy was performed by Dr. Asma here, which showed that the deceased was dead due to heart failure, which is due to the neglection of Dr. Mohammed. Your Honor, this case is 100% murder, and I'm here to prove this by presenting the parents of Layla and by showing solid proofs.
Thank you, Mariam. Fadl, please step forward. Present yourself and make your opening statement.
Good day, Your Honor. I'm Ashraf Osama, lawyer of the falsely accused Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Mohammed has been working for 15 years in Zurich National Hospital in the medical field. He has treated hundreds of patients and contributed profoundly in the medical field. Now we have Mrs. Mariam barging in and falsely accusing the doctor for killing Layla, who indeed suffered from unbearable heart symptoms, and may her soul finally now rest in peace. Now, Your Honor, is it wrong that the doctor has shown mercy and proceeded with euthanasia to rescue the patient from further suffering? Is it wrong that the doctor has acted as a human? Your Honor, here with me is Nella, the nurse, to verify by explicitly describing the pain the patient went through during her last days, and of course the doctor to verify that all he did was act as a father and agreed to proceed with euthanasia to this undeniably spontaneous case. Your Honor, this is simply an indisputable case.
Order, Ashraf, there is no need to exaggerate.
Witness 1, please step forward for testimonial.
Could you please introduce yourself to the court?
I'm Elaf Saif, Layla's cousin and best friend.
Elaf, could you please tell us how was Layla since entering the hospital, since you were a frequent visitor?
Fear didn't conquer neither Layla nor I for knowing she was diagnosed with brain cancer, as we already knew several people who suffered from that disease and were cured after following up with the doctor for several months. But that wasn't the case with Layla. Although her health seemed to be improving at the beginning, after entering the hospital before entering the intensive care, but then it became worse, and the doctor assumed that that was usual for a person in her place.
Elaf, could you please tell us how was Layla's psychological state since entering the intensive care unit?
Unfortunately, after entering the ICU, I didn't have the chance to meet her except 1 hour a day in the afternoon. But she always seemed depressed, and I failed to know whether that was due to psychological or physiological aspects.
Okay, Elaf, so did the accused doctor inform you or any of the family members of the complications and developments of the Layla treatment?
No, the doctor always avoided answering any questions and giving me more details about the case, and he always seemed confused and unheard.
Okay, Elaf, so one last question which is very important. So were you or any of the family members aware of the treatments Layla was taken?
No, the doctor was the one giving her the medicine before entering the intensive care.
Thank you, Elaf.
Do you wish to cross-examine our witness, Elaf?
Yes, Your Honor. Elaf, is your family a common victim to heart failure problems?
Yes, there are several recorded cases of heart failure in the family pedigree.
So tell me, did Layla smoke or drink, or did she lead an unhealthy lifestyle?
No, Layla used to lead a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy food and exercising daily. But she only started smoking recently, maybe 2 or 3 months before being diagnosed with cancer, which is an insufficient time to lead to heart failure.
Healthy lifestyle. Since when smoking is a healthy lifestyle? And Elif, it's a doctor's job to say whether smoking affected her or not.
Witness number 2, please step forward for testimonial.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Asma, could you briefly introduce yourself to the court?
Asma Ismail, Your Honor, a specialist cardiac surgeon in Zurich National Hospital and one of Dr. Muhammad's colleagues.
Thank you, Dr. Asma. Could you briefly tell us the results of the autopsy that I will hand to the judge right now?
Well, the autopsy results were quite shocking. The patient's cardiovascular system was severely damaged, completely traumatized, I would say. She had severe atherosclerosis in all her blood vessels, and her heart was already beginning to calcify. So I immediately asked for chemical analysis of the body's heart and brain and discovered the presence of a chemical substance, X, that's not naturally present in the human body. So I began to suspect in the drugs prescribed by Dr. Muhammad. He told me he gave her everolimus, which is a drug prescribed to treat brain cancer, but it has no side effects on the cardiovascular system, so it couldn't have produced substance X. So I honestly think he's been tampering with her prescription since then.
Asma, that was very, very helpful. One last question. Did the doctor have the right to prescribe any medication he wants?
Well, in the most technical sense, yes. A licensed doctor has the right to prescribe any medication they see fit, as long as it's approved by the Swiss Medical Administration.
Thank you, Dr. Elif, so much.
Shravan, do you wish to cross-examine our witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Doctor, say a new medicine is introduced into the hospital. Who would rather handle it, nurse or doctor?
Well, a doctor, of course. A specialist, to be precise.
So you, at times, would be seen giving medications to a patient.
Well, yes. But what does that have to do with the case? Miss Layla was not my patient, you know. She was Dr. Muhammad's. I only conducted the autopsy and test on her family's records.
Okay, thank you, doctor. I am done with my examination. Your Honor, may I examine my first witness, Dr. Muhammad?
Yes, please. Do you swear to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Doctor, please introduce yourself.
I am Mohammed Said, a doctor at Zurich National Hospital, and I was the doctor who was assigned to the patient Layla Sam.
Doctor, tell us about your first encountering with Layla.
It was 29th of December 2016. Layla came to me suffering from headache, numbness. So after examination, I found that she had a brain cancer in its phase stage.
So tell us about the progress of her case.
Of course, as soon as she was given the medication, she started improving very quickly. Later, the brain cancer symptoms were hardly noticeable, so I lowered the drug dose and wrote here a new description.
So, doctor, tell me, what made Layla's condition oscillate badly that led to her death?
Her body showed unexpected resistance to the drugs she was given. We tried all our best, but we couldn't control the situation. We tried different medicines, but it didn't work. So after a few days, she started experiencing some horrible pain in different parts of her body, and it was only getting worse with time.
It was her decision to perform euthanasia, right?
Unfortunately, that was the case. A few days later, she asked me to perform euthanasia. At that day, me and my assistant performed the euthanasia.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm done with my examination.
Mariam, do you wish to cross-examine our witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Dear so-called judge, the autopsy results that were handed to the judge revealed the traces of chemical X in your patient's dead body. Surprisingly, the same chemical is the subject of your research that I will hand into the judge right now. Your research simply discusses the treatment of brain cancer using this chemical X. So could you please respond to this? It is obvious, doctor, that this medicine or this chemical, this unpermitted chemical, was put into my patient's dead body. Could you please respond to this?
So what? I was trying to save her life. The effect of drugs on human body can change from one person to another. Heart failure was not expected. We tried all our best to save her. Her cousin said that she was smoking. I didn't know that. It wasn't my fault.
Dear Honor, this chemical, which is not permitted nor legalized, is the only explanation for the sudden heart attack that led to our loss to our beautiful soul, Layla. Dear Honor, smoking does not justify what happened. Doctor, anything you say would not justify the murder that happened that led to our loss.
Witness number 4, please step forward for testimonial.
You swear to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Nada Ahmed, nurse at intensive care unit at Zurich National Hospital.
So Nada, you were the nurse who watched over Layla during her residence at the hospital.
I didn't watch over there since she entered the ICU.
So tell us about the sort of medication you gave to Layla.
I used to give Layla 2 medications for heart condition, as well as extensive amounts of painkillers.
Okay. So Nada, as a nurse who works at the ICU, tell us how many patients usually request euthanasia?
It's the ICU. We watch over patients with extremely deteriorating health conditions. Requesting euthanasia is something common here. I remember 3 patients requested euthanasia over those last 10 days.
Okay, Nada, one last question. Could you describe us the state that Layla went through before she went through euthanasia?
Layla was in severe pain. She couldn't leave her bed. She couldn't sleep at night. You could hear her screaming in spite of the amount of painkillers we used to give her. Layla couldn't handle this anymore. She wanted to die.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mariam, do you wish to cross-examine our witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Dear nurse, the deceased had only spent 2 weeks in the hospital before being diagnosed with brain cancer. How come her health deteriorated so suddenly and had to enter the ICU?
Layla entered the ICU for her deteriorated heart condition, not for brain cancer. Sudden deterioration in patients' health conditions frequently occur. It's nothing new.
Dear nurse, do you think there was any neglect or manipulation in the treatment the deceased had to take? Objection, Your Honor.
Objection accepted.
Well, let us ask another question then. Dear nurse, can you honestly state, was the deceased 100% conscious and psychologically stable when she asked for euthanasia to end her life?
Well, yes. We suspected that it was just a moment of sadness and despair, so we gave her a couple of days. She repeated her request several times, and it was her right to decide whether she could handle this excruciating pain or not. Layla wanted to die. This wasn't a life to be lived.
Well, yes, she asked a couple of times, but that doesn't mean she was conscious every single time. Thank you.
Shaka, please step forward and make your closing statement.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention on this very important case. The prosecutor didn't face a threat that night. The judge didn't face a threat that night. Only one person, and that is my client. My client have agreed to proceed with euthanasia instead of watching his patient suffer in front of his eyes. My client has been working for 15 years, so surely he would not tolerate such recklessness in his field. Surely he would not tolerate the risk of using a toxic medicine on his patient. Your Honor, my client clearly said that the effect of this medicine has different effects from one person to another, thus indicating that he has used this medicine on someone else before. My client's medicine is under the supervision of Zurich National Research and I'm sure Zurich National Research would not fund such toxic medicine, which brings me to conclude that the family's heart failure symptom history was the reason behind her death. Her smoking increased the problems related to her heart, thus leading to her suffocation. And as revealed by the autopsy, there were no brain tumors found, only heart problems. Thus, yes, medicine has cured the brain tumors, but there were only heart symptoms. With all due respect to the family, I would like to say that the patient seemed to suffer from social problems, as none of her family members knew about the euthanasia. Only the doctor. She trusted the doctor to carry out euthanasia. She trusted the doctor as her way out of her miserable life. The doctor was simply a guardian angel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am done with my closing statement.
Ms. Mariam, please step forward and make your closing statement.
Layla was a beautiful young girl who was on the verge of fulfilling her dream. Dear Honorable Respectable Judge, let me recite part of the Hippocratic oath all physicians swear by. I will use treatment to help the sick according to my ability and judgment, nor will it you of wrongdoing or injury. I will not administer any poison to anybody when asked to do so, or introduce such a thing. It is obvious that Dr. Muhammad did not abide by this oath, and his erroneous actions caused the death of our sunshine Layla. Dr. Muhammad used his chemical used in his research and administered this poison into the deceased body, which caused sudden heart death. Dear Judge, everyone here in this court agrees that no human being should be used to test a theory or a research. I think every witness here showed the truth that the doctor and the defense are trying to suppress. The deceased family have went through a lot of hurt, and I don't think we should make this hurt permanent by letting this doctor let go and live a good, happy life that Layla deserves to do.
Please be seated, everyone. I would like to announce the verdict right now. This case is by far one of the most difficult cases I've ever witnessed. Talking on behalf of a dead human is definitely not an easy task to decide. As a judge, both the prosecutor and the defendant had some very strong points and some other weak points. The prosecutor had succeeded in making us sympathize with the patient with the right choice of words, while the defendant had succeeded in glorifying the doctor's position in our minds. However, Ashrafat had indeed fallen victim to the exaggeration of the severity of the case. Not to mention Mariam degrading the position of the doctor, which is completely unacceptable. All in all, though the defendant had indeed provided enough evidence to justify the procedure of euthanasia that had been done by the doctor, she has failed to give ample reasoning for the doctor's prescription of the medicine. The doctor should have thoroughly understood the patient's case and analyzed her medical history to realize that the medicine was not to be used on her special case. Therefore, I hereby announce that Dr. Muhammad should be pleaded guilty. Thank you.